Hello, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. I have a very exciting video today reviewing and showing you the whole new Natasha Denona Mini Love collection. So I have the Mini Love eyeshadow palette here. That's what's on my eyes. I have the Love Cheek Duo cream blush and highlighter, and that's what's on my cheeks. And I have the new I Need a Nude lipstick in the shade Amorosa, which is this beautiful mauve color. And I also got the lip liner, the I Need a Nude lip liner that is being recommended to go with this lipstick. And this is in the shade Ilona. So although this is not a new release with this collection, it is sort of meant to go with it. So I have all these products to demonstrate and show you today, and I'll tell you all of my thoughts about them so far. So if you'd like to see all of that, just keep on watching. So let's get started with the eyes. Here is the Mini Love palette. Beautiful colors, and I think it looks quite true to a lot of the pictures that I was seeing online of the palette. So I want to try to keep it pretty simple, but I do want to try to use all these shades. So I'm going to start out with this sort of mauve, purpley, lighter matte. And then I'm going to go in with that one probably after that. Taking my classic crease from Sonia G. And I need a mirror for this, so I'm going to open the cheek palette as well. And I can use the mirror that's in here. All right, so into that first lighter matte there, which it's rather powdery. You could probably see the powder as I tapped off the brush there. No issues getting that blended up in the crease. And it is building quite nicely. So although these are rather powdery, you saw I tapped off the brush when I went in with this eye here, and the powder came up, but I've had to go back into the palette a few times to build the color up. Whereas on this eye, I actually didn't have to tap in again to get what I'm getting already here. So it probably does work a little bit better if you're just, if you don't tap off the brush, if you're looking to build up the color a little bit. It's not really necessary to tap the brush. I'm not having any fallout here or anything. This is a beautiful shade. It is a mauve, and it's showing up on my skin a little bit more pink than I was expecting it to. It still has that purple tone to it as well, but it's just a really lovely, lovely color. Now taking my mini booster and going into that darker, the dark matte there. And I don't think I needed to be as tentative as I was with that. Now this color is actually maybe a little bit more patchy than I was expecting. I'm able to blend it out, and I think in the finished product it will be fine, but it is not blending quite as smoothly as I would like. And I think that's probably because of the shade. These dark purple shades are notoriously difficult to formulate. So it just may take me some practice with that shade to figure out what the best way to use it is and the best way to get it on there and blend it out. It might require more of a packing rather than sort of just going in and blending right away like I usually do. I think that's all right. I'm going to go back into the lighter matte with the classic crease again and just go over everything just to really make sure that dark shade is nice and blended. All right, now into the fun stuff with the shimmery shades. So I think that this shade is more of a topper, so I'm gonna hold off on that one for now and focus on these two as my main sort of shimmer colors on the eye. I'm taking my soft shader from Sonia G and going into this pink one first. Brush is dry. And that one's going on beautifully. The shade almost looks like a duochrome. Does it say? No, it just says it's a metallic, but it does have nice dimension in there. And this color I think is very, very similar to the cream blush color in the new cheek palette. All right, so there's that. And next let's go in with this lightest metallic. The shade names of this little palette are kind of funny. They create a sentence when you say them all together. So from left to right, they're named "You Are My True Love." So I guess I'm in the shade True now. And no issues getting this one on the eye either. Just gonna take a little bit more of that pink metallic just to kind of blend those two colors together in the center here. Okay, back in with the classic crease into that lighter matte again, and just blending all together up at the top here. And I'm gonna take my finger with True and just kind of pack that on a little bit stronger there. Nice, and I'll take my finger with Love too, just to intensify the shine a little bit. It's a very gray day. The light that's coming in through my windows here is very gray, so the shine probably isn't as vibrant as it would be if there were more sun coming through here. Okay, so that's my basic eye, and then I'm gonna go in with You, this shade here, which is like more of a topper shade, and just kind of put that all over everything. All right. Now for the lower lash line, what should I do? I'll take this soft shader again, and I've wiped it off. I'm going into that lightest matte color again. Just gonna pull that all along the lower lash line. This time I am tapping it off because I don't want too much shadow here. Taking the flat definer into the dark purple matte and just going along the outer edge here and pulling it up just a little bit, and only really letting it touch the roots of the lower lash line. I do want to see what at least one of these metallics can do wet, so I'm going to take some Fix Plus, and I'm taking the flat definer again, which I've wiped off, getting that a little bit wet, and I'm going to take the Love shade, that metallic pink, and pull that along. Okay. wiping off that color again and wetting the brush again, going into the shade True, the light metallic, the one that's almost kind of white, and just getting into the inner corners here. All right, I think that's pretty good for most of the eyeshadow. I'm wiping off my flat definer again, going into the shade My, the dark purple, and just adding a bit of a liner here. And my brush is still a little bit damp even though I've wiped it off, but I think that's fine for creating a powder liner. You might want to just choose a certain corner of the pan if you're going to do that, just in case hard pan could occur if you're dampening a matte shade. All right, I think that's great for the eyes. So I'm going to put some mascara on and then I'll be back and we can do the cheeks and the lips. Okay, the eyes are all finished. Here they are. So I put a black liner in my upper waterline and then 2 coats of mascara. Now I have the whole collection, as I mentioned. So I wanted to try out this lip liner. This is in the shade Ilona, which is the one, it's not new with this collection, but it is the one that is recommended for the lipstick that's new with this collection. So I was really curious to try these liners, and since Natasha was having that 20% off sale on her site at the same time that I ordered all of this, I decided now would be a good time to try this. So I do want to put this on before I start with the cheeks because I like to give it a little bit of a chance to set in. So let's give this a little shot. It's very smooth to apply. And it's a nice color too. It's not too far off from the color of my lips, so it's giving a really nice defined lip, but it's not too dark or anything. I really like that lip liner. I didn't have super high hopes for it because I was worried it would be a bit too gray, but I'm liking that color right now. All right, so let's get into the cheeks. I'm going to try the blush with a brush because that's kind of how I normally like to apply a cream blush, is with this little synthetic brush here. And I don't know what this brush is called. I'm not sure what brand it is. I think it might be Luxie, not 100% sure though. So here's the cheek palette. Now this blush color is the same as the cream blush that's in the big Daria palette. I do have that palette. I got it for half price at some point a year or 2 ago. And I have to say I don't use it very much because it's just so big. So I wasn't too upset about having a duplicate color here because this palette, if I like it, is going to be much easier for me to use, and I'm going to be much more likely to use it just because it's smaller, it's more compact, and I don't have to haul out a big huge palette if I want to use this cream blush here. So just tapping in, and it's quite a strong color. So I'm going to try to start out pretty light. Okay, I'm liking how this is applying actually. It's, I'm going in with a light hand, but I'm able to build it up. And the color is beautiful. Has a nice sort of slightly radiant finish as well, which is really, really lovely. It brings a lot of life into the face, I find. And I think this color goes great with the eyes too. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised with this blush, with this color, because I have used the one in the Daria palette, but I don't remember liking it as much. Maybe because this is really fresh and new too. That might help. I love that color. Oh, this is exciting. I'm almost out of my Charlotte Tilbury little cream blush, and she hasn't brought those back yet. So I've been kind of wondering what I'm gonna do for my everyday cream blush. And this could potentially, although it's quite a different color from the Charlotte Tilbury, it could still work on an everyday basis. Okay, that's lovely. I really like that cream blush. So I think even on its own, that looks great, but we have to try the highlighter. The color just looked so pretty on this one. It's kind of like a champagne to pink duochrome. You can see it better on the pan there. And the embossing is really cute too with those hearts. So I'm excited to give this one a shot. I'm taking my mini cheek from Sonia G, going right into that. It's a baked gelée formula again, as so many highlighters are these days. And I'm not getting any kick up at all, like you wouldn't even know that my brush had gone in there. So although it is somewhat unfortunate that there's not a separate cover for this cream blush to protect it from powders, it doesn't look like the highlighter is really too apt to get into that cream anyway. So there we go. Again, I want to start pretty lightly. Oh yeah, you can see the shine. And you can kind of use this as a little bit of a blush topper too. If you really like that sort of glass skin type of effect, I think that works nicely. And I'm pleasantly surprised it's not looking all that dark on me. I was expecting it to have a real cast to it, and we'll see if it does have a cast once I've got it fully on. Oh, it's so pretty. I have to say, I was having I didn't sleep well last night, and I was not in the best mood coming into filming this, but the way this cheek palette is performing is really brightening my mood quite a lot. I really like the way it looks. And I'm just adding a touch more of that cream blush on top. So there we have the cheeks. I might as well put some highlight on my brow bone too. So I'm gonna take the flat definer again. It is dried off by now. I'm just getting some of that highlight powder in there. Oh, that's great. And I can see the shifting between the champagne and the pink, even on the brow bone, which is quite a feat because my brow bone has a lot of eyebrow hairs on it too. So that can kind of obscure things, but yeah, that's quite amazing. Let's put some on the inner corner too. Gorgeous. And Cupid's bow. Yeah, I do really wish the sun were out today so we could really see the shininess. All right, I'm very happy so far. So let's try the lip. Now, I don't know what to expect with this lip. The packaging is so pretty. I think I went through a phase where I wasn't really into these sort of bright, hot magenta type colors, but I've come around and I really do appreciate these types of colors now. And the metallic nature of it is just beautiful. So there we have that. I have swatched it on my hand once. So this is the color. It's called Amorosa, and it's described as a warm mauve, I believe. And so the warm word made me hopeful. I have tried a few of Natasha's I Need a Nude lipsticks because they're very interesting to me, and I love a nude lipstick, but all the ones that I've tried have just looked too gray on me. So I was a little bit worried that this with the mauve would also have quite a lot of gray. but since she's describing it as a warm mauve, we may be in luck here. So let's just give this a shot and see how it looks on the lips. I don't think that's bad. It is a little bit, no, it's a nude. It's truly a nude. It has that toned down quality to it that I think many of us think of when we think of a true nude tone. But I think it's working really beautifully with that Ilona liner. And I'm not mad at that. It does have a little bit of warmth in it, which is, yeah, I think it has enough warmth to not be sort of gray and deadening on my face. So I do actually quite like that. Let me know what you guys think about this color. I think it goes really nicely with the rest of the look because, you know, the blush is very bright, the highlighter is quite colorful as well, and of course the eyes are very colorful. So it's nice to have a more toned down lip with all that's going on in the rest of the face. I think if I wanted to even warm up and pinken up this lip a little bit more, I would go in with my Victoria Beckham 03 lip pencil because it is a little bit warmer and it has more pink in it. But for today, I think I will just stick with all Natasha. Okay, so let's round up my thoughts here. My favorite item in the collection, I think, is the Cheek Duo. Aside from the cute packaging, the products themselves are lovely. I love the color and the finish of this cream blush. It's very livening to the face, I find, and the highlighter is gorgeous. I'm really pleasantly surprised by this cheek palette. Not that I was expecting bad things from it, but I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do. I think it's really, really gorgeous. And do we have a cast? I think there is a little bit of a cast here from the highlighter. And you can kind of see, obviously, the pink colors, but it's not that bad. And again, I'm surprised at how nicely this highlighter is working on my skin. The eye palette, I was a little bit disappointed in it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the look that I came up with, and I think ultimately everything came together and created a really gorgeous look. And since I started out with this matte shade, I did really like that shade, even on its own. So I think the quality of that shade is very good. This one I'm not so sure about. It was a little bit more difficult to blend and maybe a little bit patchy. So I kind of had to do a little bit of extra work to use this one to kind of make sure it was all blended in. These two metallics here, they're very pretty and they might show up a little bit more quickly if I had wet them, but I like to generally go in dry, at least at first, with my metallics. So I like them, but I found them a little bit less creamy than a lot of Natasha's metallics are. So although again, the result was very nice, and this one especially looked really nice when it was wet, I would prefer them to be just a little bit creamier. And then this topper here, I guess it's kind of the same thing. It took a little bit more building and it felt a little bit more dry than I was hoping for. And this one I only used my finger for, so that usually gives you kind of the best initial impact. And I still had to build it up a little bit. So the metallics, I wish they were a little bit creamier. This matte, I wish it were a little bit easier to blend. And this matte I really liked. With that knowledge, hopefully that will help you to decide whether you want to get this little palette or not. I don't think it's bad quality, and it's certainly a lot better than a couple of her minis, like the mini Star I did buy, and that was not very good in my opinion. And then I've heard that the mini Leela and the mini Sunset were not very good either, though I haven't tried those. So I would say it's sort of somewhere in the middle in terms of quality of her little mini eyeshadow palettes, but the colors are really gorgeous. And if you love these colors and you like this type of eye look, I think you would enjoy this palette. The lips, I think I've kind of talked about them. I really like the finish of these. They're a kind of creamy matte finish, which is my favorite for a lipstick in general. And the liner is really beautiful too. Now, I don't know how long wearing the liner is or the lipstick, but the liner does claim to be quite long wearing. So we'll just have to see about that. But I am enjoying the texture of it as well as the color. Sometimes with long wearing lip liners, I don't like the way they feel on my lips. They feel a bit heavy or a bit dry, but this, I didn't experience that with this at all. So that was really nice. And the color I loved as well because it's pretty close to the color of my lips. So it adds a really nice definition without looking too harsh or stark on my lips. And the lipstick is, I'm pleasantly surprised also with this. I think it has just enough warmth to make it flattering while still being what I think is more of a true nude color. I'll take some photos of swatches of all these products and I'll put those in now. All right, so that's it. That is my review of the Natasha Denona Mini Love Collection. I think it's a beautiful collection overall, and I'm glad that I was able to try all of the products in it. But hopefully, if you were just wondering about maybe one or two of the items that are in the collection, this will have helped you to decide on what you'd like to get. And if you were just interested to see how it looked and you're not planning on buying it, I hope this was an enjoyable video for you. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to see those below. And if you'd like to see more from me, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.